What happens when beauty meets boldness? When flawless faces dare to break rules and redefine desire? Across Asia, a new wave of gay icons is rising. Men who are not only heart-stoppingly attractive, but also fearless in how they show up, speak out, and stir hearts. From K-pop rebels to queer cinema legends, these are not just pretty faces. They are stories, they are shifts, and they are changing what it means to be a man in today's world. Ready to meet the ones setting the world on fire? It is not every day the internet meets a man like Edison Fan. With sculpted abs that look like they were carved by lightning, a gaze that can stop traffic, and a quiet confidence that radiates power, Edison is more than just a thirst trap. He is a phenomenon. This Taiwanese model and fitness enthusiast rose from regional fame to global admiration, not just because of his physical appeal, but because of what he stands for. When Edison came out, he did it on his terms, gracefully, honestly, and with pride. Since then, he has walked through the world as his authentic self, unafraid to mix bold style with open vulnerability. But what makes Edison more than a pretty face is his purpose. He uses his massive following to challenge outdated notions about masculinity and sexuality, particularly in Asian culture. Through gym selfies, fashion shoots, and even casual mirror snaps, he sends a powerful message. Strength and queerness can coexist. You do not need to hide softness to show muscle. He reclaims the narrative that being gay is something to tone down, and instead tones up both his body and his truth for the world to see. His confidence is not loud, but it is unwavering. It is in the way he poses, the way he lives. Edison Fan's presence online is more than just curated perfection. It is real, radiant representation. In an era obsessed with filters and edits, he offers something raw, a celebration of self-worth. Whether draped in designer fabric or dripping sweat in a gym tank, Edison exudes an energy that inspires millions. He does not try to be anyone's idea of perfect, he just is. And that truth, paired with his undeniable allure, makes him one of the hottest and most important queer figures rising out of Asia today. Edison is not just changing the feed, he is changing the frame. Jeff Satur, Thailand's androgynous thunderstorm. If Edison Fan is the calm heat of a summer sun, then Jeff Satur is the midnight storm that stirs your soul. Bursting onto the scene with a voice dipped in velvet and eyes that seem to carry secrets, Jeff did not walk, he glided into the hearts of fans across Asia. Born in Thailand, he first captured attention through his emotionally charged music, a fusion of smoky ballads and dreamy synth pop. But it was his breakout role in the hit series Kin Porsche that turned admiration into obsession. His on-screen presence is not just magnetic, it is electric. Equal parts softness and danger, Jeff redefines what it means to be a leading man in queer narratives. Unlike many stars who tiptoe around identity, Jeff walks straight into the light. His androgynous style, often blending masculine suits with soft makeup and flowing fabrics, tells its own story. Beauty is not confined by gender lines. His chemistry with co-star Barcode sparked a global fandom. Yet what truly sets him apart is how he refuses to distance himself from the LGBTQ+ energy that powers his rise. In interviews and appearances, Jeff acknowledges the impact of queer stories, not just as roles he plays, but as reflections of lives that deserve to be seen and felt. His artistry does not ask for permission, it simply dares you to feel something deeper. In a world where many artists still choose safety over sincerity, Jeff Satur is a bold exception. He is not trying to play safe or play straight, he is playing true. Whether standing under spotlight on stage or behind the camera in soft-lit portraits, he carries a message that lingers. Freedom is beautiful, and so is the chaos it sometimes brings. Jeff is not just an actor or a singer, he is a movement, wrapped in silk and fire. And after Edison Fan's confident heat, Jeff storms in to remind us that queer power is not one note. It sings, it stuns, and sometimes it steals the entire show. If Jeff Satur is the storm that rattles your senses, then Yin Anan Wong is the slow-burning flame that draws you in without a word. His rise to fame was not marked by grand declarations or flamboyant gestures. It was written in the tension he built with just a glance. With a sharply defined jawline, an effortlessly charming smile, and a presence that commands attention without ever demanding it, Yin is the kind of star that pulls you close with silence. Best known for his work in the beloved series Love Mechanics, he quickly became more than just a character on screen. He became a sensation. Yin's artistry lies in restraint. He does not overplay emotion, yet every look, every pause, feels charged with unspoken depth. While he has never publicly defined his orientation, his consistent portrayal of queer characters and deep connection with co-star War have made him a beloved figure in the LGBTQ+ fan community. The chemistry he brings to the screen is not just acting, it is emotional engineering. Fans often speak of the way he holds a scene, how he lets tension simmer until it becomes impossible to ignore. And when he smiles, it is not just charm, it is controlled chaos in the best possible way. But what truly makes Yin stand out is his respect. He treats queer narratives not as roles to perform, but as human stories to honor. Whether he is sharing a scene or attending fan events, there is an authenticity to his presence that resonates deeply. He does not chase headlines or force labels. Instead, he lets his work speak, and it speaks volumes. Following the visual poetry of Jeff Satur, Yin Anan Wong arrives like a subtle verse, quiet, intense, unforgettable. He proves that masculinity does not need to shout to be heard. Sometimes it whispers, and the whole room still listens. From the smoldering tension of Yin Anan Wong, we now shift into something more delicate, more deliberate. Austin Lin is not the kind of star who dazzles you with spectacle. He is the kind who leaves you breathless with stillness. A celebrated Taiwanese actor and singer, Austin may not flood social media with shirtless selfies or chase fashion extremes, but his quiet allure runs deeper than surface appeal. With high cheekbones, thoughtful eyes, and a soft yet intense aura, he embodies the kind of beauty that feels like a secret only you get to uncover. He is elegance personified, a man who can steal your breath with a glance and a half smile. Austin's artistry goes beyond aesthetics. He won Taiwan's prestigious Golden Horse Award, solidifying his place among the greats of Asian cinema. And though he has never spoken directly about his sexuality, he has embraced LGBTQ+ roles with dignity, playing them not as statements, but as soulful human beings. His performances speak with compassion, never condescension. Off-screen, he radiates the same authenticity. Whether advocating for inclusivity or simply allowing his work to speak for itself, Austin Lin becomes a vessel through which queer stories find grace. His energy is never forced. He does not seek attention, but attention finds him anyway. In an industry where louder often means better, Austin proves that softness can still cut through the noise. He is the subtle heartbeat between bolder personalities, a reminder that seduction does not always shout. Sometimes it just stands there, looks at you, and says everything without a word. Whether wrapped in a casual button-down or posing against a dusky skyline, Austin Lin brings a poetic stillness to queer representation in Asian entertainment. After the simmering charisma of Yin, Austin's presence is like a deep exhale, calming, captivating, and absolutely unforgettable. And that, perhaps, is the truest kind of star power. After the quiet storm that is Austin Lin, the story takes a bold turn. Enter Holland, a name that does not just echo through the music scene, but ricochets through cultural walls. In a K-pop industry known for its perfectionism and polished image, Holland broke the mold in the most unapologetic way. With Neverland, his debut single, he did not just release a song, he launched a message. The music video featured a same-sex kiss, a move that sparked immediate backlash in conservative circles, but also ignited a firestorm of global support. Suddenly, a young man with soft features and soulful eyes became the most radical voice in Korean pop. Holland's beauty lies in contrast. He pairs delicate visuals with lyrics that scream freedom. Every detail, from his fashion choices to his Instagram captions, feels like a gentle revolt against silence. In a world where many idols dance around the truth, Holland stands firmly in it. He does not hint, he declares, and that declaration is wrapped in artful vulnerability. His existence alone challenges a system that long taught queer artists to hide in plain sight. And yet, Holland does not just exist. He thrives, inspiring thousands to embrace who they are, no matter the cost. But Holland is not just an icon, he is a movement with a heartbeat. He speaks softly in interviews, but his presence roars. He is the boy next door, with rebellion in his veins, the idol who turns pain into poetry. Fans across continents do not just admire him, they feel seen through him. And that connection, that sense of shared truth, is where his real sex appeal lies. After the quiet elegance of Austin Lin, Holland erupts like a protest set to a beat, beautiful, brave, and impossible to ignore. Because in the end, sometimes the most magnetic power does not come from following the rules, but from rewriting them entirely. If Holland was the spark that ignited change, then Kwon Hyunbin, known by many as VINI, is the slow-burning fire that keeps the world watching. A chameleon in every sense of the word, Kwon is a walking paradox. One minute, he is strutting down runways with a jawline that could cut glass, eyes fierce and unreadable. The next, he is crooning lyrics with such emotional honesty that it feels like he is singing directly to your insecurities. This duality between power and vulnerability is not just rare, it is addictive. And it is what makes VINI one of South Korea's most intriguing cultural enigmas. His Instagram feed is a gallery of contradictions. One photo might show him shirtless, effortlessly sexy, with tousled hair and a smirk that feels more like a dare. Scroll down and you will find him wrapped in oversized knits, gazing out of frame like a daydream come to life. He defies the K-pop industry's traditional mold of masculinity, leaning into softer aesthetics without ever losing an ounce of edge. While he has never spoken openly about his sexuality, his styling choices and unwavering support for LGBTQ+ friends have turned him into a low-key icon within the queer community. He never says too much, but that only deepens the mystique. What truly sets Kwon Hyunbin apart is his refusal to be decoded. He does not hand the world easy labels or explanations. Instead, he invites interpretation, dares you to wonder, to question, to look again. He lives in the in-between, and that space is where his magic lives. Following Holland's loud and proud revolution, VINI feels like the echo that lingers, the beautiful uncertainty that keeps us guessing. Because sometimes, the most seductive power does not come from telling your truth outright. Sometimes, it lies in the courage to be complex, to be both myth and man. And Kwon Hyunbin, he is both, beautifully, unapologetically so. From South Korea's master of mystery to Hong Kong's fearless heartthrob, the energy shifts once again, this time to Anson Lo, a name that has become synonymous with bold charm and quiet rebellion. As a member of the explosive boy group Mirror, Anson first captivated fans with his soft gaze and graceful moves. But it was his decision to step into queer roles on screen, unapologetically and without hesitation, that truly set him apart. While many idols cautiously sidestepped the LGBTQ+ space, Anson ran toward it, portraying gay love with tenderness, depth, and the kind of authenticity that made people stop and feel. He did not stop when the cameras did. Off stage, Anson evolved into a style chameleon, one day dressed in soft pastels and oversized fits, the next in leather, eyeliner, and stage-ready couture. Each appearance felt like a message. He sees his queer fans, and he is not afraid to reflect them. Though he has never publicly defined his sexuality, the connection he builds with LGBTQ+ audiences is no accident. His performances blur lines, and his confidence in doing so sends ripples through a traditionally conservative Hong Kong entertainment industry. While the spotlight often demands caution, Anson brings courage, wrapped in a boyish smile and a dancer's rhythm. But Anson Lo is more than a pop star or an on-screen performer. He is a pulse in a movement. His presence signals that change is not just possible, it is already happening. In a region where queer visibility is often hushed, Anson cranks up the volume with every daring dance break and sultry glance. He does not need to declare anything. His choices, his art, and his connection with fans say more than any headline ever could. After Kwon Hyunbin's intoxicating ambiguity, Anson arrives like a bright neon sign, flashing hope, heat, and the promise of something beautifully unafraid. And in this lineup of queer icons reshaping Asia, his glow burns brighter with every beat. Shohei Miura, Japan's quiet storm of queer longing. After Anson Lo's electric defiance, the energy shifts to something more restrained, yet no less powerful. Shohei Miura, one of Japan's most enigmatic leading men, is not the type to shout for attention. He does not need to. With his sharp jawline, expressive eyes, and a calm presence that speaks louder than words, Shohei commands the screen like a seasoned poet. His performances are quiet revelations, layered, introspective, and often tinged with the kind of longing that transcends traditional storytelling. Though he has never labeled himself publicly, many of his most striking roles have danced delicately around queer subtext, delivering emotional depth that feels achingly authentic. In a country where entertainment often leans toward conservatism, Shohei has made bold, deliberate choices. He has portrayed characters grappling with identity, intimacy, and internal conflict, offering audiences a mirror into spaces they rarely see reflected. He never plays queer-coded roles for shock value. Instead, he infuses them with humanity, respect, and aching honesty. His support for LGBTQ's visibility, though subtle, resonates with fans who see in him not just a performer, but an ally. On-screen, he simmers. Off-screen, he listens. That balance between intensity and humility is what sets Shohei apart in a landscape often dominated by spectacle. Shohei Miura is not here to provoke headlines or feed tabloid culture. He exists in the quiet corners of cinema, where emotion speaks louder than any label. In interviews, he comes across as thoughtful, reserved, but never evasive. He speaks with care, moves with purpose, and carries a sense of grounded grace that makes his allure feel timeless. After the high-energy presence of Anson Lo, Shohei is the emotional exhale that reminds us desire can whisper, complexity can seduce. And sometimes, the most magnetic stars are not those who flash brightest, but those who burn slow, pulling you in frame by frame, breath by breath, until you are completely lost in their story. From the introspective depths of Shohei Miura, we return to something bolder, something almost mythical. Thailand's god Itthipat is not just a name, it is a declaration. With his sculpted physique, piercing stare, and natural camera magnetism, God seems to have stepped out of a fantasy. He rose to fame in the world of boys' love dramas, portraying complex gay characters with nuance that went far beyond surface-level attraction. But what truly elevates him is how he balances raw masculinity with a soft-spoken charm. He is strong without being hard, beautiful without trying too hard, and in every frame, he blurs the boundary between role and reality. God's appeal is not confined to the screen. Off-camera, his charisma radiates in every candid laugh, every shirtless beach photo, and every glance that seems to know its effect. Fans are quick to point out how his interactions with co-stars feel sincere, not staged. His body might be gym-sculpted perfection, but his warmth is what makes him truly disarming. He does not simply act in queer narratives, he honors them. While he has never explicitly labeled himself, his vocal support for the LGBTQ+ community and his comfort in queer-coded fashion have turned him into a real-life fantasy for fans across Asia, and he wears that admiration with grace. But perhaps the most powerful thing about God is how he makes space for others. In an industry often driven by ego and image, he seems more interested in connection than control. He lets his guard down, just enough for people to feel something real. His Instagram is a curated mix of thirst traps and thoughtful quotes, reminding followers that beauty and depth are not mutually exclusive. After Shohei Miura's whispered mystery, God Itthipat brings the fire back into focus. Hot, yes, but also healing. Because sometimes, being divine is not about being untouchable. Sometimes it is about being exactly what people need: visible, vulnerable, and completely unforgettable. To close this journey through Asia's most captivating queer icons, we arrive at a face that redefined what vulnerability could look like on screen. Bruce Hung may not be the loudest or flashiest star on this list, but he just might be the one who left the deepest mark. His breakout role in Your Name Engraved Herein, Taiwan's highest-grossing LGBTQ+ film, was not just a performance. It was a seismic moment. Bruce brought to life a character whose love burned quietly beneath the surface, echoing the real-life ache of millions who have loved in silence. With boy-next-door innocence and an emotional range that feels lived in, Bruce turned queer cinema into something intimate, heartbreaking, and real. His physical charm, broad shoulders, soft eyes that swimmers build, certainly drew attention, but it was his emotional presence that kept it. There was a sincerity in his portrayal that audiences could not look away from. He was not playing a role. He was channeling something raw, something deeply human, and that authenticity carried into his off-screen life. While Bruce has not publicly discussed his own orientation, he has become a vocal supporter of LGBTQ+ rights, showing up at Pride events and using his platform to promote love, empathy, and acceptance. In interviews, he is thoughtful. In fashion, effortlessly stylish. In presence, unforgettable. Bruce Hung represents a new kind of heartthrob, one who does not rely on mystery or provocation, but on connection. He reminds us that it is not just about who you love, it is about how you love. After the powerful presence of God Itthipat, Bruce arrives like a cinematic epilogue, gentle, poetic, and piercing in its honesty. He does not need to shock to stir your soul. He simply shows up, fully present, and invites you to feel something real. And in today's ever-curated world, that kind of truth might be the most seductive thing of all. Bruce Hung did not just act in a love story, he became part of ours. In a world that often asks queer men to shrink, these 10 chose to shine. Through style, story, and silent strength, they gave us more than a fantasy. They gave us representation, pride, and the freedom to dream louder. Whether they whispered or roared, each of them left a mark. And maybe, just maybe, they helped someone feel seen for the very first time. If one of these icons moved you, share their story, and subscribe to help us keep celebrating the truth in all its fearless beauty.